She cheated on me at 16, now she serves me and my stunning wife at a diner. Chapter 1. First Love, First Lesson. When I was 16, I was just a goofy kid. I wasn't thinking about love or relationships, just school, hanging out with friends, and trying not to disappoint my parents. But that all changed the moment Sarah came into my life. She was 18, confident, and far more experienced than I could ever comprehend at the time. She didn't just walk into my world, she stormed it. I was awkward, unsure of myself, but Sarah? She was bold. She initiated everything, made the first move, and before I knew it, we were a couple. Our relationship escalated fast. Physically, emotionally, everything. And being the naive teenager I mistook lust and chaos for love. I told her I loved her every day. I meant it. I thought she was the one. I dreamed of marrying her, having kids, building a life together. But deep down, something never felt right. She was unpredictable. There was always a new drama, a fresh crisis. And me? I was the fixer. The doormat. The guy always apologizing, always trying to hold things together while she lit fires and walked away from the smoke. My parents hated her. They warned me she wasn't good for me, that she was promiscuous and manipulative. But I didn't listen. I defended her like my life depended on it, even when I knew deep down they were right. Because at that age, when someone gives you attention, especially someone older, more experienced, you ignore every red flag and call it love. But then came the night everything shattered. She went to a party. Without me. With her coworkers. And the next morning, everything was different. She was acting overly affectionate. Nervous. Like she was trying too hard to seem normal. That's when my best friend called me, voice shaking. He told me she had gotten drunk at the party. And she didn't just flirt with someone. She had a full-blown foursome. With 3 of her coworkers. And my heart, it didn't just break. It collapsed. I confronted her. And what she said next made everything so much worse. Because instead of admitting it, instead of owning it, she said something that made me question everything I thought I knew about her, and about myself. Chapter 2. After the fall. When I confronted Sarah, I expected her to cry, to apologize, maybe even lie. But nothing could have prepared me for the words that came out of her mouth. She looked at me with deadpan eyes and said, "It wasn't cheating, because I was too drunk to consent. So technically it was grape." And she said it just like that. Cold. Calculated. Almost rehearsed. I stood there stunned. I wasn't some legal expert at 17, but even I knew, if that were true, she would have called the police. She would have quit her job. She would have shown fear, trauma, anything. But there was nothing. No panic. No sadness. No sign of a victim. Just deflection. It didn't add up. And the worst part? I still wanted to believe her. I was broken, confused, and angry, but I wasn't strong enough to walk away. Not yet. I slept with her a few more times, like some lost puppy too addicted to pain to find the door. I told myself I was taking back control, that I had power again. But it was a lie. I was still under her spell. Still letting her destroy me one piece at a time. Eventually, I blocked her. Deleted every photo. Cut off every tie. But the damage? That stayed. It changed me. In college, I flipped the switch. I became cold. Detached. I didn't trust women. I didn't even really see them as people anymore. Just temporary distractions. Things to use and toss. I told myself I was just having fun. That I was in control now. But I wasn't. I was angry. And that anger didn't make me powerful. It made me dangerous. I hurt good women. Cheated on girls who actually cared. Played games just to prove to myself that I'd never be the weak one again. I was the one doing damage now. And for a while, I liked it. Until I met her. She wasn't the hottest girl at the party. She didn't wear heavy makeup or play mind games. But there was something in her smile. Something disarming. Honest. Real. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel the need to win. I just wanted to be enough. I didn't know it yet, but that girl would become the woman who rebuilt me, and the one who'd stand beside me the day I came face to face with the ghost of my past, wearing an apron, holding a notepad, and pretending not to remember the boy she once shattered. Chapter 3. The Woman Who Chose Me. Her name was Elise. And no, she wasn't perfect. She didn't light up rooms or dominate conversations. But she had this calm strength about her. Like no matter how chaotic the world got, she wasn't going to flinch. I didn't fall in love with her overnight. It wasn't like with Sarah, all fireworks and chaos. It was slower, deeper. The kind of love that sneaks up on you because it isn't loud. It's safe. She asked questions that mattered. Not about my job or what car I drove, but about who I was. What kept me up at night. What I was afraid of. She didn't press when I hesitated. She waited. And slowly I began to tell her the truth, not the version I showed the world but the real, wounded, messed up me underneath. She never judged me for my past. When I told her about Sarah, she didn't get jealous or insecure. She just listened. And when I told her I was ashamed of how I treated women after, she looked me in the eye and said, "You're not that man anymore." That's when I knew. She wasn't just someone I loved. She was my redemption. We got married 2 years later. I was still a work in progress. Hell, I still am, but with Elise I finally believed I could stay good. Not just act good. And that brings me to that day. That random Tuesday afternoon, sitting in a quiet diner with Elise and my parents. We just finished lunch. I was laughing about something my dad said when the waitress walked up, and my stomach dropped. There she was, Sarah. But not the Sarah I remembered. Not the fiery 18-year-old who tore my world apart. This woman was older, heavier, her face sunken by time and bitterness. Her eyes met mine, and for a split second I saw her recognize me. She froze. Like a ghost just walked through the door and sat at her table. She turned and practically ran to the kitchen. A different waitress took over our table and nobody said a word, until my mom leaned in and whispered, "Isn't that your ex?" I just nodded. Elise looked at me, curious but calm. And I shrugged. She didn't always look like that. Elise didn't say a word, just smiled and took my hand across the table. But in her eyes, I could see the question she hadn't asked yet, and I knew the time had come to finally tell her what that girl once did to the boy I used to be. Chapter 4, The Last Look Back. That night, Elise and I were brushing our teeth side by side like we always do when she finally asked me, "So, that was her, wasn't it?" I paused. Not because I was hiding anything, but because I wasn't sure where to begin. And for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of the story anymore. So I told her everything. I told her how Sarah pulled me into a whirlwind when I was just a kid. How I mistook chaos for passion, obsession for love. I told her about the lies, the manipulation, the betrayal, the pain that lived in my chest for years like a second heartbeat. I told her how, after Sarah, I lost myself. How I hurt others because I couldn't feel anything anymore. And how long it took before I started to become a man I could live with again. Elise didn't interrupt. She just listened. And when I finished, she didn't offer advice or pity or judgment. She wrapped her arms around me and held me like she was gathering up all those broken pieces and keeping them safe. "You're not him anymore," she whispered. "And she doesn't get to live in your mind rent-free." I laughed and I felt something uncoil in my chest. Like a knot I didn't know was still there had finally come undone. A few days later, I looked Sarah up online. I wasn't sure why. Maybe I just needed confirmation of what I already knew. She was a single mom now, still working that same diner job. No mention of the father. No smiles in her photos. Just filtered selfies and cryptic captions about starting over. And that's when it hit me. For so long, I thought revenge would feel like victory. Like walking into that diner with Elise by my side was the final strike. But it wasn't. Revenge is loud. Healing is quiet. And what I felt wasn't triumph. It was peace. Because I didn't need Sarah to regret what she did. I just needed to know that I never became her. So when I closed her page, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel sadness. I just turned to my wife, kissed her on the cheek and thought, thank God I was broken back then, because it led me straight to her.